possibilities.
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawa Bambo hu hia ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority ebo bibia kokose se fuel tank enya kwenhia na edane a menko ho nkwaye wadwen se okosisa petrol anafango no na afin so menye wadwen se wo ben fuel tank enya kwenhia ne ho akwa kodwitwa videos ana pictures na petrol anafango wo hwen so uhua ko wo mu a enye sunsu asobone ewo apomodensem so fango so eho ahometinti no enfom so akitu ebi ebetumi ameja tom amana gise ewom eba ne saa nipa dodo timi femu hihye ehwe mo nkwa emeja pade dodo na nso esei eno nti memfa won nkwa nto chacha enye saa obenu ho nkwa na nyina se wo hu se fuo tanka bi enya kwanhia na dane amafango no ebugu mpa hwa na wa aman ho da stay back and stay safe. Emomo no aya fredum je jumayefo ana posifo no mo mehwe so ano wutumi nso efred National Petroleum Authority ewo 0302 550 380 kai se wonkwa wo hoi ehu hia bebre esensa afango no kokoboi National Petroleum Authority ene de bro.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we will deliver. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're watching us from. It's a beautiful, brand new Wednesday morning. Yemo bibia achi sanse mo bibia akwaba eba Coastal TV morning mix jumedie no eso ene eye wukwada nyankopon na domenti no yesanso yes new month emu ti ende 1st July 2026 happy new month to obia o hweye sa wo hweye mpo na sa wo tie nka mpo na happy new month to you ani yemfa aseda kese na nkasa emfa ma otumfo nyankopon se ayana dom ne na humobro binti no anopei yada se yete ase yeni atimi ehu July 2026 dia ene na esefata sa yede aseda ebema no yada nyankopon ase wo nkwa wode ache menne wu mienu ene ntino yeda na se na yensanso fa aseda kese nso ensanfa ma wankasa a wo hweye ye no na hye afenase ene ne July 1st yesanso ya no wo studio ha say dia ene na yeda ase se oguswa ehwe Coastal TV na oguswa ewo arehemu ewo yemu yeda ase pa wo gidia we de ahye yemu yenso ye be adwen se ne owo gidia wo yemu ntino ne ebe bia na ebe ma programs aye no woni beje ho na okombedo se wo behwe no eno na ye beye ene ntimbomode ase woni ye ebetina channel no eye digital 514 yesanso ye wo Facebook ene yesanso ye wo YouTube bomode ase obekoho na afei we stream live ye oje wo Facebook a ye handle no eye Coastal TV Cape Coast na se eye YouTube so there eno ye Coastal TV a Cape Coast enka ho bomode ase obehwehwe wo ho na wa like here comment na wa share link no ama afoforo nso ehu se Coastal TV. In fact, we are back and we are here and we are working. What's it say? Sa enete e wo fia say. Mama wakwa abadia ene na memfa asda we di hono nso enkoma ya boafo a omasto ya sema Coastal TV morning mix eye possible. Nti ye de asde di kan no ebema eye National Petroleum Authority NPA. Na yesanso edi de edi honso ama eye diesel gift shop and Men's Hardware and Finishes. Yes, also that Nesto Ventures and so as the Patmo Print. Na yes, also ada the taste kitchen services and so as say abwafo na esoya say ema ye programs a hodo ni na edema ye so mo so na sorry na yes chew kran so say ono mu edi nkita ho ana ono mu edija enya ade a obenu ho de biara da nti bomode an say obehye ne nsosa na ode amaye ene Wednesday's edition of Morning Mix Bia so no a women's special women's edition into no ye shada dedicate eka ema honsem what I say nti ye kasa about women empowerment, women development, you know bibia e fa ema hu bia na be ma ema ediye in the society no eno ena yeye nti se we oba oye bema wo ba wo fie wo yire wo mame wo baba wo girlfriend wo fiancé yes bomodian say oni ye ebet na dwumade so fisese me akom say bebo nondu 10 ne de yada so wo fiancé ya ye women special into no fasha wa adwumusa. All right, you're moving on now and paying so yemfa your motivational message, your inspirational message no yemfa emro ansana ye de nyaka nyina atwaso onim se ne Coastal TV no ofia say ye sha se de a ye din kan e feed your spirit and your soul ye wi a na fe ye feed your mind and your body sanete and to no anopano motivational message we no a short but powerful. Now it is by William James. Obi a friend say William James and na oka same way. I say if you can change your mind, you can change your life. Once I'm catch say a short but powerful. See any BMO. I say if you can change your mind, you can change your life. And then you funnel in two perspectives. On the individual side and on a large scale. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. Say about your brabo moa. Ye nim say even Bible no kwa me ase say ne nipa adwen no sa na ote. what is going on in your mind ne ekoso wa dream no saa na chere e wo abrabom e manifest e wo abrabom nti sa wo dream say we broke we poor your whole life we poor so wo dream say we sikani a your whole life obetimi enye sika in fact ubenye sika nkasa wo dream say yare bi how na yare we de no what to the dimpo say me yare wo de ato ho say we de me yare de a ene o yare na so ene do be ko na mum say o dream in a positive direction say we de enya de me yare na mum no ebekọ me ho beto me live a healthy life me live good life ebeba mu sa e de amount inti na say kwa sorry dem na say sofo e bompae a ni odi enim bia a obompae no obompae wi a Jesus say amen enye ho emame enye ho ebaye inti no ne wo dwen no eno na beye ho e de amount wabrabo no enema bebre ena ACC enema bebre ena ACC wadwuma sei en wo de ahye wadwum say wo de enya de a obenye adwuma ye de ena enya de a obenye adwuma ye nso ampa Nemum says wadwum say there is a better opportunity be wanim eba opportunity papa bi wanim eba ntino wo arehwemu wo enida so bi say bibi sa ebeba so e de amawa eno ena bebom e de amawo that is on the individual level no ye ankrankra side no but yen hwe no on a large scale no a country be to say Ghana or mine be to say Ghana no enema bebre ekoso e wa ha sei enema bebre ekoso e wo man ni mu at least recent one crampo na ekoso no eno eye the flooding issue a ekoso e wo so ne esie ni say some should I even say some most of it no if your mindset no and a manifest in real life enti ye say e hye ya dream say ye be swabole fie e de akwakogu dreams especially in the rainy season or even not in the rainy season on a normal day no e hye ya dream say e no na ye be ya e no na be manifest enti say nsuo no ta obe say I manifest with ne ye no. So say ye say yes say suban yes say adwen na fe ya think more proper sanitation ye doing more proper sanitation more proper drainage systems more proper building planning na say nya say ye adwen a e be manifest e wo ya brabom intine sa no ye nkwaye niema the flood ebeba. So in the long run no you started from say yes say your dream and I'm manifesting in your daily life your living. The last time na enramboa na omampanyi John Dramani Mahama can say there's some plan B our pipeline ni mu a enche no ombe pese ombe move some of the institutions some of the state institutions from Accra to other parts of the country sane beya ebeboa for decentralization na Accra enkoye so congested. Beautiful plan, it's a good thing, but ne na no started from your dream say aban etimi yes ade we na o move some of the state institutions from Accra to other parts of the body na of the country na so still na yesuban na ye womu no eno a na ye da so womu a ensesa hwe me na me ka che ensesa hwe emphasize bia emfama. But on a large scale o sisa usuban o nsidan ewo nsuo kwan mu onso so o sisa usuban wo be jai galamse no eye me so me sisa usuban nya ade ameto nwura gu bayigata mu onso so o sisa usuban ye free communal labor national sanitation day obia eba na se ye ya afra mu de obia eye ne wo sa oye towards a proper sanitation for Ghana. E ho pon ko hia mpo se you be moving some of the state institutions from out of Accra to other parts of the world and humpo enko hia because immediately no yesuban na yasesa no ebe manifest ebe deadi into flooding mpo emba. That is also on a larger scale. So yehu say ni nyina no ehya ase efri ya dwen mu your mindset near your dream near cost way team obi e dream we go say manya star zoom line for better than ye brother sister in this 2026 age what that's so a dream sa de no dia and na you hear say you be fumigation power team because you need a total change of mindset me na make sure so anopay Coastal TV yem pese ya asem ebe tintintin motivational message no e short into no you be keeping it short and simple. Change your mindset sister wadwen sister the way I would drain and find name bi ho sister the way we so I don't care say emfa me ho because say enka me dan into no e kwan net ne ne wo ye na ma flood na ekonkofo fie na wo fie wosi na bronsan ti enka wo no wo mfa ho dia ene yesesa wadwen brother sister mama papa auntie sister wadwen why because if you can change your mind you can change your life the life you are living as an individual and the life I am living as a nation as a country no if we can change our mind we can change our lives and opa we ne ye jaw ne ye de ahye wase amade no atwa so ye da ase minim se watie na sa na ye bompa ye ka wo asori dem no erade boya me enye asam no tiefo ene ne yefo na ye nkoye asam no tiefo kwa nti I hope say wonye asam no tiefo kwa ne mo be ye asam no tiefo ene ne yefo amen je me so say amen jo enti no yem for motivation and as inspirational message no nc has say na afei yentoa so with some good music, some good and proper music for the day. It's no yensi enyum kakra na efe ye ba ne aka bia nso no ye de ato aso.
joy of the whole world. You are the great and mighty God. So great you are. Beautiful voice. You are the joy of the whole world.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we will deliver. Thank you.
Afe yento aso na yento adwumadie no so na afe yemfa kasebo a ewo ho ni nyina nso no yemfa ensomo ansa na ya twa adwumadie no eso na meka wo se etwagu ewo Coastal TV channel 514 yesanso ye Facebook na ye YouTube modern ase obekọ ho na afe wo follow wa subscribe wa like na comment wo ha ja comment section ase na afe share the link link no famaye na ye twaso a anopei ensema obete no efie ha no ebi enise Coastal TV yedwumadi a yedi no efie da bia no so no nyame ya adoma omanfo enhwe animu se efie da so abeba so ewo coronation na yedi kan akọ akoba pro nti yedi munsem ebebremo sa enso na South Africa xenophobic attacks na ekoso no enra na ye deadline omanfo no edema obia on free South Africa say onko ne krom na enra oye chekese bi pa so ekoso ye de munsem so ye de ebeba ababe sommo sa enso na interior minister enra na ogina mrahwe bedwam na oka ananso say ode amanebo ekoso ewo nsubre mu omanfo a nsu afọ mo edan hodo a abubu ene ne ekeka ho nyina so no ode tu dwa ene nti no ye de mu amanebo ebebre mo ne yesanso akọ adwaman so na efe ye de full price ahodo no ye de asomo makanisa no na mesrese obeje akonwa na efe wetie kasebo no nchimu ankasa na tena medi nkankan no Coastal TV Community Connect jumedie efiade bia no yeye no efiade di enimu nso nyame ya adoma ebeba so na so far no yedi nkan akoho akohwe the way eho esitie na me kase eho a na me ka coronation asem na making na omanfo ewo ho so age efew so chese nyame adoma efiada no so ebetimi ede yesese akobo ewo ho yekosi honorable assembly member eso Ora Felsen na one yensentweni Umar bin Abdallah ebo nkomonti yentie amane ebo no
Kama de bia yeke chiro ya tie furu no Coastal TV Community Connect is aba bajezi afibe to be nasema ho a office man to meet ogwa yen bo twon komo na ya hwekwana pa za otu maro kodo etum na aboa nkankan afibe to be assembly members a wonya wa wa etu ba etum ba oya hemo pasere do dependa ba basene kwani kwa kan sa wa oya odum ja so ye nte Ghana Fire Service enda ya bebudu oya coronation oya electoral area aho na ya bebudu e ba mazene ya assembly members etum atun komo na fi etum ye hunu ne pasere do no za otumoriye za ontumonkwen za waye esiwa kwan waye hawkase etum na zaman no e ba mazene fi etum na ina atun komo nti sese kese e ba tun sa afra oya honorable oya Eko Felsen ani assembly member wo oya electoral area ha ina bo atun komo na fi etum na aboa ma ne dwumeze otum ho otum na wabre yike metu da kire na zamba afi betu bere no benum biti assembly member za obutu ababa ya ne nkanka hema mpanyin John Dramani Mahama emina do ozo allowance ya bezi anu kuti no otum ohie but in assembly member ya yin bo twin komo de biara ne mposo do ne mpuntu anu otum ohie inda yin baba twin komo de ebisende sete benti ne aboa de obey assembly member ana good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Na ba chapo me
Nyame adumo
yo ana ba zikane no ye bisa de abazi no ojaw de awada ya assembly member wo ya community
yo medasi ozikan mute chief wetia chief nyina me second term na me assembly member wo he
okay
in fact malamo wana already na me bia mutumu che me yedwuma so why mo me bia wo connection am me listening na mo shot na mo no the make me mutumu because mal already mutumu bia wo bia mo come here mo buon confirm here you bia lot me say no say previous na me predecessor offend honorable Haruna no kero yin ko bi no so mo tida ode mo bana mo so na edwuma pa wa yendo ese ti amam dia me ba assembly member ni
yo dem no tiza empene bieni ya na empene bieni sise etumi ewo me ye bi se de so the kan na sise etumi ken aba sise etumi am abo community
oh so ti bebre na wa ba mo say mo first time no mama ye ne de in fact na ya wo mo family bi wa ha one dental nti I took it upon myself that no asodo mo hwe na ye sanity oba ye community no nti me unit committee connection for boy no me kere obo 8 oda for bi alada in fact it was very nice yesterday no more recording omo 8 mo family ya wada no bi recording fine but unfortunately for me ejuma akutenyi me it is me no yesterday the year the management bi nimba ye meet mo here obo promise they obey but along the line then no mama ye mu bi dan so ma den okofum but all the same no mo pese do osun lighting system o management mutuality o wasisale before we to borehole but machine bi ande so mo no o ya tete na munyin e fi bi kasai lawyer bi munyin kasai that no we to borehole mo mbom na fa machine mbeshim na on pumping sun na toilet no one use I mean charge or do say you the pumping but 2 million. No me 2 quid them to that. And so was so one again. It's mama your pipe. You do toilet one, then you have a chon. It's an uncle Ubu Sunubi. You didn't soon as you be able to supply toilet ma BBL code fine. Now up and there. Ekozongwa one lighting system. Chow one kada biam bakada o light bi ayede quickly. Mo mi engineer bi o phone at the gym. Go for bom wa kakra ateko oh me unit complete for bom man kasa and for that matter connection boys and girls so ye adwuma otu won wusiwo ye adwuma fine. Abana say ye communal labor wa ha wala wojo bajimpo da be bi. In fact me puso do bom man kasa na me show in advance.
I mean, also maybe said, you show one person be a 8 minutes home for me. I shall saw him, no, could be him. Okay, be on the center of your community, another beer at me, don't me share papa. You'll be said there. One person, I shall saw him, no queer.
You must start to a connection junction, and the go from Aqua Street. You go for Gibby School. You do Gibby School, because offer a soda yoko municipal. His son is going to put the Papa Junction. It's about a bit connection junction bill. What person do not know?
Salama Osida, you show woman here, operate with my from our work on so here, be since over home as in. You was secondary school, another school in Yada, I can have a bone.
In fact, school, I can one up a bone. So, what we call BC, or bachelor. Sometimes we want to work at children, but try the mom of your massets. Mom won't be. What the cockatcho, no way I do so. But unfortunately, no, get school no wahano. Why the way in the year? In fact, why are with the baby? Ah, see some yokers in which you go. The vocal school is an air crosser, and you make you are more famous. What was your name? Where you are the new move for? No from when you pack a board, do another way to another do. Down the minimum unit continue on your connection for your compact on your foot chatter. You can see the fine. But you are autumn where you used to pack all that you do. And also come on, you good at your you can see for me so. If you feel in fact, problems can come. Are you good? You know, I shall be here. If you can see you are the student if you form number. The young there, let you walk in the Tibina Divo, or it's singing enough. I am here between this week to next week. You be the major one with you and Sunuba. When you come out, on 1 to 1. This is a house of Tammy or management. And soon 20 a year. Since soon to her, management to a harm of Yasu. But tell me you do Sanka, yeah, but just fine. Be out for the fine.
All about community, you are, and I was the uncle, you are, yeah, and you full of heart, and like Sanka. If you dry your community, need security, or Jananado, another how.
Your community security wise, Makanda off and on, simply because, or you okay in the sense that, like to know, like to show, say, a security, like to the most, only a first. Like to know, was a baby step, or report my pet, my family engineer. Come on, I don't go there in the house. But I don't say no, as kind of war. Let's say me on Chelibia, what you do, but then, Bakuno, why Yamiza? Oh, Yamiza the Musa. I said, mobile post farming, Mr. Post for Bay. Share you be a mobile cause, but all the same, no, be a quarter farm wasn't called much.
Yetwa Kasebono eswa na yekwa kopie mu ewo South Africa na enra na June 30 deadline na anti-immigration groups edema obia onye omanba ewo South Africa say omomodiana onko ni krom sanse omompese illegal immigrants ebetina okro omukrom na afi omabeje omedwuma aboso ne ade nti enra na deadline na anti-immigrant groups no edema sa nkofo na omo consider omo say omo ye illegal immigrants ewo krom hono na o share the way na omanfo no eye oyeche tisi monten so eye oyeche na in fact na eye bibia na penny be share ankasa sanse eye dom South Africa dom bebre na ene pie ba bonten say omo ba be ye oyeche na previously na mpanyinfo no akase memo bia emfa akonde bi te se enua ene ne akeka ka ho bia emfa nkonkoye oye kire ne kama se omanfo no entie a chese ne omo pese omo ye na no omo ye nti wo hwe mfoni a etwagu wo screen no so ya na chese omanfo bebre na enekuta enua yebetimi consider say eye weapons na omonenam kroma na omoye oye kire no ewo mu na enra ebra na eye high commissioner to South Africa from Ghana here no na central for etutu na no nsem na omo bisa no se entino we no aban hyehye yetesen se odibeyi omanfo no afri eye South Africa na ode omo ababedru Ghana nkanka omo aka ekire no enim se nipa dodo na ababedru na mom nso nkofo bebre na nso na aka ekire a omunya embaye nti nse misa no ekoma ne se ede nhyehyeye na aban de agu akwan mu se ebeboa ama omanfo a aka edwemu ewo South Africa no yetimi ede omo ababedru nkanka Ghana na nsema ode tudwa no ebini.
I think there's coordinated efforts between the Ghana High Commission here in Pretoria, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Office of the President in Ghana, so that we'll be able to repatriate the rest of the Ghanaian people who have voluntarily submitted their names that they want to come back home. During the whole of last week, myself and the Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, and also the Chief Director at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Khadija, we've coordinated, and I can confidently tell you that plans are far advanced to bring the over 800 Ghanaians that are left who have willingly given their names that they want to be repatriated to Ghana. So the plans are far advanced. We almost done with the logistics so that they can also be evacuated back home. We're looking at very close to 900 people who have written their names and want to, remember we've done already 938, and so we are adding another 900 to it. And this, we believe, will bring all the number to finality. Those that have voluntarily asked that they should be repatriated, that is the numbers that we have. I believe that this June 30th day or deadline that is supposedly being given by groups of protesters who have taken the laws into their own hands, unfortunately, we've been told by the government of South Africa to ignore, but it's becoming very difficult to ignore, because when the government says one thing, these demonstrators say something else. And so what we're doing is to ensure that the Ghanaian community here in South Africa will be advising them on making sure that they don't find themselves in the crossfire on Tuesday, where we believe that the state should be able to provide security. I'm sure that you've heard that the South African police and also other private security agencies have been contacted by the government, who have spent a whopping 600 million rands to ensure that there's enough security during this process on Tuesday. And so we would advise the Ghanaian people, and the Ghanaian people have been very, very cooperative. They don't go to areas where we believe that the demonstrations will be right. They don't engage in confrontations with any of them whatsoever. And we've asked them also not to open their businesses on that day, so that we are able to forestall any deliberate attempts by anybody to say that perhaps it is that our people who did anything to warrant a reaction. So we're doing well on that as well. Well, from the directive of the minister, we have engaged the Department of Home Affairs in South Africa. I'm sure that you've heard that our people, compatriots from Malawi, almost 10,000 of them are being repatriated back home. So the whole setup of the Home Affairs Department, which are supposed to help us in clearing our people to travel, are dealing with that number, that huge 10,000 number. And so we couldn't have them last week to help us. We're hoping that by this week they should be able to finish up with whatever they are doing so that they come and help us. Unfortunately, yesterday in the evening when I had a call with the Honorable Minister, he wished that we were able to do the evacuations before the 30th of June. But from the South African side, it will be very difficult, and we don't want to be seen as people who are not grateful, because when we started, they have been there helping us through the screening processes. And I believe that once they told us that they are dealing with the Malawians, and once they are done with the Malawians, they will come to us. We're looking between next week, not Monday, not Tuesday, but within the week, once we decide, after we have confirmation from the Department of Home Affairs here in South Africa, we'll let the Ghanaian people know when they are going to be repatriated back home. Yes, of course. We've housed some of them. We wrote officially to the police indicating the whereabouts of them and asking that despite the heightened tension in the country, these areas should be protected, because these are not people who are here to foment any trouble. These are people we are grouping together to repatriate back to Ghana. That is what the March people want. That is what the citizens of South Africa want. So if we are doing that, I don't think that it will be so unfortunate should any of them try attacking any Ghanaian citizen at the locations where we are keeping them safely for the repatriation back home. Well, this has not been the first time that we've had this xenophobic attacks. This has not been the first time that people in South Africa have taken the laws into their own hands, disrespecting laid down rules and procedures, and harassing African migrants who are in this country. One school of thought wants us to believe that anytime there's an election, these things happen, and another school of thought wants us to believe that the South African people, unfortunately, are not willing to identify what the problems are, the challenges that they face as a country, and they seem to just lay it at the doorsteps of fellow Africans who are here helping the economy to be better. 95% of the lands in South Africa are owned by minority white people. Jobs in this country, when it comes to unemployment, Black South African young people, 40-something% of them are unemployed. When you want to compare the number of unemployed white people in South Africa, you have less than 5%. So the real problem is not to do with any foreigner that has come in here. The real problem is for them to identify the challenges that are facing them as a country. And like President Mahama said, he thinks that it is time we all come up as African nations to help them. That is if they are willing to be helped. Because at the end of the day, there's a misplaced priority. There's a misplaced understanding of what the economic challenges that they are facing is, and I believe that it is a matter of time before they realize that when everybody in Africa turns against them, then they'll do an introspection and see that we meant well. We want to help them. How do we help them? By helping them identify what the main problems are about unemployment. It is every country in Africa, when there's unemployment issues, you don't lay it on other people. Governments do things that they are supposed to do to alleviate the plight of its people, especially young people who are unemployed. And I think that has been the challenge that we've had with South Africa. And we believe that in the coming days, weeks, we'll keep engaging them and see whether we'll be able to draw a middle line and for them to end these hostilities, unfortunate xenophobic attacks that they are having against our brothers and sisters from other African countries. Well, I think that the figures will be delivered by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is a leader of whatever we are doing. I think that in my last speech to the Ghanaian people, I indicated to them that these are unbudgeted costs that government had to fall on to be able to help in this process. And so when I hear people complaining that government is not doing this, government is not doing that, I've had to tell them that then we are being ungrateful people, because these things were not anticipated, and a listening government and a government that cares made sure they got money from whichever source that they have to get it to help the Ghanaian people who were in need. So in as much as I don't know the figures and I don't have the figures with me, I believe that there was a cost that government didn't budget for, but government had to fall on to help our people come back home. It's not only about the flight coming to Ghana, Accra. There are logistics. There are things that we do, providing accommodation for our people, providing medical care for our people, providing food for our people. And these are all costs that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs always have to bear these few weeks that we've had to deal with these xenophobic attacks in South Africa. But I think that we want to believe that South Africans would understand that other migrant Africans in this country have nothing against them. We believe that we can coexist. We believe that we can work together. We believe that if they allow the systems to work in South Africa, we won't find ourselves in where we are finding ourselves currently. We wish them well in the demonstration that they are going to demonstrate, but we want them also to know that the whole world is looking at them. They should channel their grievances. They should channel the problems that they are facing to the right authorities and not just find a leeway to put it on the doorsteps of innocent other African countries who are here working alongside them to make a living. I believe that the whole world will see who South Africa truly is. And I would want to believe that they will listen to their president, they will listen to other key people in the country who have advised them that this demonstration should not turn violent. It is just unfortunate that one of the leaders of the demonstration, the March and March group, had this to stay on air, claiming that if anything happens on that day, the blame should be laid on the doorsteps of the government. This, for me, is unacceptable because you are leading a demonstration. How do you blame government for a demonstration that is not leading? And so we want to believe that these kind of statements and these kind of tensions that are being put everywhere, we do what we have to do to help our Ghanaian people, and that is our occupation. That is what we do at the High Commission, and I can assure you that not a single Ghanaian who will need us on that Tuesday would we turn our backs against. We would do this together and ensure that right after it, our people who are ready to be repatriated back home will be repatriated back home. And so let me also use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs for his dedication, for his zeal. The Honorable Minister calls us virtually every day, getting briefs as to what is happening, how he wants us to solve it, and also the Chief Director at the Ministry, Ambassador Khadija. We want to say a very big thank you to them, and ultimately a very big thank you also to the Chief of Staff and also to His Excellency the President for coming to the rescue of our people in these very difficult situations.
Ora Benjamin Kwashi ena oye Ghana's ambassador to South Africa brana one Channel 1 TV eye interview na ode sansemi ode etuja. Yet wasn't so na ye kwa kopiemu ewo emrahye bedwam na ye nyina ye bedi adanse se nso na esi form no nyame anim ni eye nema bebre sei nema bebre japade bebre na se empo life bebre na yahwe ewo Ghana ha sei na oba mfimfim mantem ha so ayenso ye nya ye chefa pa ewo eye ohawa nso yiri bre the whole Ghana na se oman ni nyina no adan bebre na ebubu ye nema bebre na eseseye na enra ebra na Interior Minister Ura Muntaka ewo ejina mrahye bedwam na ode report no ma speaker ene omo amakwakohyiemu ewo mrahye bedwam nyina na ochirem edan hodo a ebubu sempo yeba Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly mpona district ni nyina niema asai ene enkwa hodo a yahwe ewo Cape Coast Metropolitan Hospital Metropolitan Assembly ene emfimfi mantem ha nyina na ni wakeka ka ho nyina nso no yenti ebi ni embra.
In last 2 weeks, which I have the details in Central Region, Mr. Speaker, last 2 weeks we had 58 houses that collapsed, and for those of us who are very familiar with Central Region and the kind of houses, because of the mud houses, some of them are the bricks, some of the houses were over 100 years old, but these were the districts and how they were affected. Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly lost 20 houses, Gomoa East 2 houses, Gomoa West 1 house, AOB 2 houses, Aguna East 7 houses, Gomoa Central 1 house, Tufu Ahima Lower Dentra 6 houses, AAK 4 houses, Mfansiman 5 houses, Asin South 1 house, Asin North 7 houses, Efutu 2 houses. And Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, there too we lost 18 individuals as per the report that was sent to me. In Cape Coast, death by building collapse 5, death by drowning 1, Gomoa Central, death by building collapse 1, death by drowning 1, Mfansiman, death by building collapse 2, death by drowning 1, Tufi Ati Monkwa, that's TAM, death by drowning 1, Upper Dentre West, death by drowning 3, Aguna West, death by drowning 1, Upper Dentre East, death by drowning 2.
eno ene ensema eye interior minister ora muntaka ede tuja ebra na ode report no ema eye emrahye bedwem na yenya enintie tesia se eye petrol tanker bi enya accident ewo baby e friend se Esuchare junction a eno no ewo eye eastern region na echese fire service for ana amienya nintie se omunya eye report no ebra na abo nonan ahomache nonan empemu ho na ena omunya asa report no baby a friend say Esuchare junction ena asem no esiye ne say ntino so menya ene VR ni akosombo fo nyina so ebo moden ede omo pumps ebeboa se ne be ya ebetimi edum eja no na fire service for HS omo nya nentie no omo ant na se kra na omo koju na unfortunately nipa ba ko de waye nyankopon edia driver na ochi sa petrol tanker no ono de waye nyankopon edia na meter na oka ono de nyame adom ote ase na emum no pra na wepra pa che so omo na kwakopiem ewo Akuse hospital a oje ayarehwe ewo ho enitino Ghana National Fire Service ese omo guso a enhwehwemu ewo sa asemi no omo pese omo hu senti a accident no esi ne ekofa accident ni na de bae ntino emrepam no nso no omo de report no nso ebeba ababetuja na omo sanso ka ache omanfo nyina se obia enya ahweye na sene Coastal TV da bia ye kan eche omanfo no se hu se petrol tanker bi nso enya accident a na watwe ho afi ho memben ho enkonko pressure wo ho enkotwitwa mfoni bia se ne be ya enkofa aturenchem bia nso emfamre obia ananso se obia obeben ho bia nso no na eno eneye amanebo a ye free Ghana National Fire Service a ye de ebre omanfo ye nto aso na efe ye nkopiem edwaman so na yemfa eye anopei eye 1st of July 16 cedis 46 pesos Benap filling 16 cedis 46 pesos Benap filling station and so emma petrol bo 15 cedis 20 pesos and a diesel no air 15 cedis 81 pesos sanso and a Total Energies emma petrol a bono air 14 cedis 99 pesos and a diesel no air 16 cedis 95 pesos oko piemum ewo air Goil filling station and so petrol no emma 13 cedis 87 pesos petrol bono and a diesel bono so air 15 cedis 95 pesos Star Oil and so eton petrol and bono 13 cedis 39 pesos and a diesel no air 15 cedis 93 pesos Pacific filling station and so ebema petrol and bono air 12 cedis 79 pesos and a diesel no air 15 cedis 98 pesos na oko baby to say petrol so and so petrol bono air 11 cedis 98 pesos and a diesel no air 12 cedis 98 pesos na way and filling stations are who do be so eka ho and as obomode na o log onto cdrate.com ubenya na ode ayewa hombo anti o hwe filling station e wo mpotamu no na wahu ebo na omonso omode omofi wo edeje anopay and as say the whole day you know and you know ha na ebegina na ye the Coastal TV morning mix Wednesday's edition kasebo no ye de ni na aba no awieye maka show say mixture of activities and ewo program is so into your friend say morning mix no into bo modern say ube follow your socials no so Facebook and YouTube no na we hu ne ko na say oti TV na chi so a digital channel 514 bo modern say ube scan o TV no na afei woni ye ache enne dwumadi aye wo ma wo enyina no yentwa ho na enja bo afon krato na afei ye ba ne wo nyina nso no ye de ato aso
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawa Bambo hu hiya ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority ebo obi bia kokose se fuel tank enya akwanhia na edane a menko ho nkwaye wadwen se okosesa petrol ana fango no na afin so menye wadwen se wo ben fuel tank enya akwanhia ne ho akwa kodwetwa videos ana pictures na petrol ana fango wo hwen so uhua ko wo mu a enye sunsun aso bone ewo apomodensem so fango so eho ahometinti no enfom so akitu ebi ebetumi ameja tom ama na gise ewom eba ne saa nipa dodo timi femu hyehye ehwe mo nkwa emeja pade dodo na nso esei eno nti memfa won kwa nto chacha enye saa obenu ho nkwa na nyina se wo se fuel tank bi enya akwanhia na dane ama fango no ebugu mpa hwa na wa aman ho da stay back and stay safe. Emomo no aya fredum jejumayefo ana posifo no momehwe so ano utumi nso efre National Petroleum Authority ewo 0302 550 380 kaise wonkwa wo hoi eho hia bebre esensa fango no kokoboi National Petroleum Authority ene de bro.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we will deliver. Thank you.
Mami sanso Emma wakwaba ha eye Coastal TV morning mix jumedie na oguso a ohwe yedi nkan the news no any motivation no abrew ntino o say etwa so ne emfa other segments no so emfa mrew momode ase obe join ye ye social media handles no so Facebook and sanso YouTube live and college ye wo ho nti bomode ase obe hwehwe ye channels no na wa follow wa subscribe like pacho share the link why share link no movie sanse obi be hia information anope ye beka no na ode aye ne plans nti bomode ase obeche ama afofro nso enya efu ampoma AFIBA mache ete say
amena do no complain
eda ya mi ase anko wo complain ko obi anti nti hia nsa ode be show on kakra o free efie ba na ekwan so boko de
boko ja ye kwan ye nyi ya
mo kwan ye nye o kwan no eda hefa o fa ka wa
abra ankafo
okay
ye ede ko no
ene o kwan ni nyampa
nya baku si
isi o to de na aye west kra Okay. Anopeyenye newspaper. Yensaka de ubon krata bi ofia se e wose e bobo so na ewe so an the other segments no so atwa so. Na ne etiane se eneme very sure say one issue a ebehu e wo newspaper ni mu nyina e flooding.
Definitely. Eno di.
May very very positive.
And the major topic in Ghana at the moment.
Yes. Because flooding we see enrichi, but a lot of people are still reeling from the experience. Post flooding experience no west saying during the flooding ankasa. Into no the ancient free daily graphic. Now no pay or can't be our front pages. So President John Dramani Mahama and na pound for egu has say. Or say demolish structures obstructing waterways. President directs MMDA's government votes 300 million Ghana cedis for flood impact. Now, President John Dramani Mahama and can share a municipal metropolitan district assemblies. They say assembly bia municipal bia metropolitan bia na nkofo esiti dan esi insio kwan mu a blocking insio na nti emma se insio ne ta entimi flow freely sene e wo se e flow no omunhwe na omuwu sa dan ni nyina engufom omunhwe na omu demolish sa edan ni nyina emfa engufom eno nkwa anso ho osanso can say 300 million Ghana cedis bi no so yemfa emma nkofo a omoho aka ewo during this flood period nti enra na ye chemu say 150 no ekọ for relief measures and no year for relief measures and the other 150 so specifically for people a omoho aka nti eno ene ensem so a ekọ so efi omampanyin John Dramani Mahama akache over 6,000 security service applicants test positive for drugs. Enche ekwa na ban ede ejejegu akwa mu se ebeboa ama nkofo a omopese omobeye ejuma e wo security services ni mu meche police meche soldier fire service immigration ne na eka ka ho ni nyina no sankofo ni nyina ekọ for application forms ya kan po say some tragic incidents bimpo esi e wa Accra che se nkofo bi e hwere omo nkwa all because of stampede bi a esi ye fi hono na process ne to aso na nyame adom ababe si na me no ka say na report ano pay yensa ka o daily graphic ne hwere say nkofo mako 6,000 a omo ka edoma e ko apply for security services ejuma no 6,000 almost 6,000 and omo tested positive for drugs meche drug abuse nkofo a omo atwewi omo gusu twewi ne ne omo atwewi pain omo gusu enum red no omo manum red pain ni nyina ewu intina ya na da bia ye tu for say uwo enisuade hunu bi say opese oye ni partition bi organ ha say opese utu kwan opese u enter especially into the security service sector na opese u enter but modern say obetwe ho afisa enubone hu because say na akwa bi bia say common obi aye na nkofo people ewo the mindset say ono wontwe onnom red ontwe cocaine ne mum otwe shisha into no shisha no na adwe ne say eno de enye drug enye ye can drug abuse na ono wonka ho bi mpacha wo kan ho why see enya kan nkofo mo abuse drugs and bomode say obi raise your hands present madam because wo kan ho nti wadwe you say wo nnum sa ne mani nyina nti no we okay dia ene na oboa ni na ye tobacco crona nti bomode ansa obehye ne so
AFIBA
yes my dear
applicants no yesi bebre na so yare
hyehyom ho
is na sefo nti ano so ye twen say omode ho asem ebebre
wow
bebre na yesi is ne nyama enye
oh yeah semo is what was that I think it was last week and report bisa so ba bonte say the number of people omunya is no so e kwosro ankasa
yes
e kwosro Mommy anya hwehwe wo baby ayewo because you never know. Even say wo partner mpo na say we would also be faithful mpo na won cheat. You never know what your partner is doing. So but mommy ambo ya ho ban why?
At first people say TA so you say bibi we che.
Is na you pictures e wo textbooks. Na you no say na you no real no. Obi oben wo pa wi no is you never know.
And then because of the drugs made available now, no, so say obi wo yare ni bia unsheda enhu won ho cause nipa no o taking the drugs very well nti body no egusu ejina so nti e be stress obiara ebebo ne ho ban efri yare we
yo yeah to us na assembly so ekoso wo daily graphic or say 12 dead 7 still missing interior minister tells parliament. Tell me on a report now they call parliament na we nso eka ho o chem say Accra flood no nkofo a o mawu makomako 12 edu mienu 12 nkofo 12 na ewu was a flooding him na nkofo 7 there enso up till now yehu omo so omo tiase yehu omo baby omafa it is 7 missing persons and nkofo makomako 12 and ewu from this flooding issue Ghana has a Tianone asem so a ekoso ewo the daily graphic. Sedina Tamaklo in prison, passed through BNI cells police hospital, spent 6 months in US custody before return. Na omoche se Sedina Tamaklo mo amuwo nsem efa ho mo asem bisa efa ho se whether our prison and also say oni prison no reporter ewo daily graphic eche say our prison ampa say o prison na omuche mu say answer na omode ne beba Ghana ha say amama na be serve ni prison terms no bono na wafa BNI for cells mu a spend the 6 months US custody answer na oba ye de no po police hospital wo US for no answer na ye deport no amana ba Ghana say o me serve ni full jail term Inti enye se yakwa akoma no house arrest bi no de baby no yare na baby sansem ni na emfa kwem na emum no o prison am no ka say o prison na mo de reports aba na mo de picture tale hu of e bia wa she yellow and orange and blue out tip prison na em say okay or that so na prison sure na say akwa e be dey hu seeing is believing into no ya na mo de picture so aka nti no ne nsema e wo ho if I enter also
okay, I'm for junior graphic and so me who junior graphic am me ni Japan. Make I JHS. Prime ube ready. Every Wednesday teachers in the paper around. Obia betobi. Teacher ni we wasama and homework. And homework our junior graphic mo. Okay, more funds required for welfare of children under 5. A year UNICEF and day abetoja. The United Nations. Okay, me share ade. Jumekuo UNICEF. Omode abetudwa say sika omode ehwe mmofra below the age of 5 years. Sika omode di omo ho ejuma eba na education. Omo welfare health enema no ade a enso eninti. Eno no omode to aban enim say ombo moden na oma omo sika na omo ntimi emfa enye mmofra eho ejuma. Okay, say nkwala bi so amofri Tesano school omaje omo jesi fefe omo picture ne boha no nini na no omo de support Ghana Black Stars ye match ayegusu ebo no say the next match Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Why parliamentary seats are arranged in U shape? Until when junior graphic my more info on the reason why I call Ghana parliament now, I said senior motina no in U shape. Mostly call other parliamentaries parliaments different countries no who say they sit opposite each other. Minority eti baby, majority eti baby, but Ghana no a U shape unifying stand identifying and say yeah very unified people. Yes. A mother's tough love and also a story the junior graphic junior graphic there we there at the end of the paper no be who say story be I think story is no mostly students and
true
omo students akwenya say omo de omo stories ebeba na omo de ashim
yeah
okay Afiba
Mamemfa Africa Today so emfanto so na Speaker of Parliament Emfoni Eda has say at MSME's Day 2026 MP highlights digital divides, urges action on mobile and social platforms, says MSMEs can boost revenue by 40%. The last time now me Madam for Tech in EBA common and all say there has to be a singular platform. On put no account for banks. So there has to be a singular, let's say, app as a UBA. You see Cowbank there, you see GT, every other tender like uniformity. And that's how I feel I'm download a baby bree on my phone. So if I'm using multiple bank accounts, a baby bree. So I think it's a similar thing. And a member of parliament in so can once say there has to be uniformity when you achieve digitalization na ye can once Ghana has say I was say no in a uniform manner and yes obia ye ne ope obia ye ne ono na adwum free say obeboa but I was say ye mom uniform na eba ne sana even MSMEs crampo no ebetimi raise omo revenue by 40%. Okay. Now stop politicizing local floods. Central Tong MP warns detractors and pledges continued road funding amid flood crisis. Central Tong Rashebejeni and now say more the flooding no aye politics no munjai. More the flooding into you know more the politics no munjai. Na ochemu say moya ne sana na say mo ma attention no diverted from the real problem because your problem can say pa Ghana has say na akoba ne say moya no MPP NDC CPP akpalua emboa nti no mo amode flood no politics no muntu mo fu na munjai na ochemu say ono so na famu de obeye ama nkofo mo ho aka saa flooding era we mu I call it flooding era nkofo mo ho aka ni nyina no so no obeboa ama say sika famu o say aduane o ni nyina so no obeboa ama omanfo ensa atoso bi Ahiagba defense MPP flood record. Intino Akufo-Addo government invested over 550 million Ghana cedis in flood control projects. Anone asama Ahiagba oka. Ochem se aban dada etwebeye MPP aban no sika ode share flood munu 550 million Ghana cedis. Enya flood keke de flood control project. Enema ebeboama flood npo enkoso anase emba ewo Ghana ha say Ahiagba kira aban dada no discover 550 million and ode share sa project no emu. Suleiman Brahima and the Fourth Estate exposed over NLA KGL renegotiation. Tianoso matters arising via yedimu details ebebremo. Chiefs in Mepe push for dialogue with North Tongue DCE over Akosombo Dam spillage flood victims. Na ahemfo omo Mepe and na omo pese omushia North Tongue DCE. Na omono no ekasa omoso omo wasem bia osese omono ne kan omoso pese omono ne di nkomo esan se Akosombo Dam se na eyi na omo bie na enso ne bi efiri mu kwa konkofo fie konkofo edwuma mu nkofo afuom esese niema na ade na enso aka me se ya omo nya proper compensation bia nkofo a omo niema se no omo nya proper compensation bia for damages na spillage no cause no nti ahemfo mo mepese DC omra nanim na omone no enkasa pam. MP blames recent flooding on indiscriminate waste dumping and poor infrastructure. He blames flood engineering for worsening the flood crisis. Rasha Bejani Fonso no chemu se flooding na yehu ni sisi ano enye bibia se nkofo a etutu nwura egu basa baby obi abenya bia no de nwura no egu baby obi abenya bia no de nwura no egu ene adansi a yensi yemfa proper planning ento ho na baby obi abenya bia nso no na osidan baby obi abenya bia nso na osidan eno na ama saa flood way cost no sanso echem se esanso kwa west esanse engineers so mo hwe na omusisi da saa dan no kwampo no omusi dan no basa the last time I make say asase no like asase ayo Ghana has say if it was for the lack of better language no if it was any serious country anka enye ahemfo ene woni asase enye individuals ne oni asase ne mom asase no aban ne de ahya aban ne nsa ene on ne be kire se has ye ton ye has intine sa no asase bi kwa ba yetimi blame aban no flat but say na ankoba ne sa no yentimi mfa blame no emfa ma aban no because ono de asase bebedan eni ne nsem even asase kwa say ya aban asase kwa mbo no timu say individual people encroach esisi dan basa to say Ramsar site a demolition e so hoy timu say asase ya kase hase yensi dan wo hase no nsuo enum nsuo akwem nti yensi dan e wo hase but still obi kwa kosi abronsan ten aye investment kase de esiso with the hopes that obi anka ho hwe but last ye wubu nkofo eden egu so no we no improper indiscriminate waste dumping any poor engineering na amasa flood we nyina akoso ewo let me say Accra mfimfi mantem yenya ye share de na emom yentimi mfa compare ne ekoso wa Accra no kra nti eno ne nsem bia ekoso a anopai Africa Today abe report won.
Okay, yenfa the daily guide and so 30 perish, 7 missing in deadly Accra central floods. Floods in Sensemi are coastal nationwide, particularly in Accra. The abetu just say inipa 30 and a free muna 7 and so omo ayira ayin omo echia kwan. Telecel closes Ashanti month with mother and baby unit adoption. Telecel omoju media a course wo Ashanti region no omode aba ewieye. Afoko gets Dr. Enim Adams support Paul Afoko hopeful NPP chairman. Yes, he's hopeful to be the next NPP chairman. Ora Dr. Enim ede the supporter man say ade seen eni so no ono nso ofwaso nti ade or support no ewo bibi biara obeye emu. Parliament passes maritime related offences bill. Parliament omode enyema bi abegu akwan mu senia enyema boni a ekokoso ewo yensuo so no omo behwe se ubiara one obeye bibia ene sa nyema no ento AFIBA bwane
we be na emra no ebo ebra ana
yes sa pepepe ombe make sure say emra no ene ubedi ni yie panti yesre say yenye nyema yie ma yentutu rubbish ne nyema engu yensuo mu we fisherman say na de bia ye bo hu de ro wa ha no we fisherman cultivate the right fishing practices and far light ne nyema DDT enkoji na mini na no say aban sakanwa one wo ebedi ni yie. 350 million relief package aban no e de AFIBA me say waka we ho asem. Yes, aban no e de sikabi ade abetu dwa say o de support say yennuano ma flood in sensem yi omo a flood no affect omo very much no the sasike ebe ye enyema ebe boa omo relief items omo provide relief items e de amomo. Yes, AFIBA
yento so discover newspaper na flag bearer of NPP ora Mahmood Bawumia emfoni eda hase ahwa ne abewa bi edi nkomo gidigidi ewo ho no o say flooding knows no party colors, let's fight it as one nation. Bawumia na okasai na answer na yebeto aso no there was a press conference by Afenyo Markins Osahin and the minority in parliament and omo kasa about the flooding no how omo akoma edi affected people no nkofo mo aye affected no omo sympathy ekwa ma omo ene ekwa omo so ebefa so abo ne the way omo so me hu dem say omo sympathize with them ma men kan sa na okansen bebre ohun ewo press conference ni mo me pese ye be hwe video ni bi na fe ye ba na ye de nchemu ne asem kakra ye wo kan ewo ho no ye de no so atu joint no ye nhwe no bi na fe ye nkombra.
This is the minorities' position in respect to the happenings in our country. Ghanaians woke up yesterday to scenes that have become tragically familiar under this administration. Major parts of our national capital submerged, homes destroyed, livelihood washed away, and citizens stranded in the very city that houses the seat of government. This is not an isolated weather event. It is the predictable consequence of a government that talks about preparedness while doing nothing to deliver it. Today, we find ourselves a nation in mourning. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, before anything else is said, we must pause. Behind every flooded street and every submerged home is a family whose world has been upended overnight. Tonight, somewhere in this city, a mother is sitting by a hospital bed, holding the hand of a child she nearly lost. Tonight, somewhere else, a husband is searching for a wife who has not come home. Somewhere, a father is standing in the wreckage of a shop he built with his own two hands over 20 years, watching everything he worked for float away in brown water. These are not statistics. These are our people. Ghana is still counting on its losses, and we fear that what we know today is only a fraction of what we still come to learn in the days ahead. To the families who have lost loved ones, to those keeping vigil beside hospital beds, not knowing whether their relatives will recover, to the traders and artisans and ordinary working Ghanaians who have lost everything they spent a lifetime building. We, the MPP minority, feel your pain. We are your neighbors, your relatives, your constituent too, and your grief is our grief. We hold you in our prayers tonight and in the days to come. But our compassion does not end with words of comfort. We make this solemn promise to every Ghanaian touched by this tragedy. We, the mighty minority, will use every tool of accountability available to us, both within this house and beyond it, to ensure that those whose negligence contributed to this disaster answer for it. Your losses deserve more than sympathy. It deserves justice, and the minority will not rest until you have it. Now let me go back to the task force that existed on paper and on paper alone. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, last year, His Excellency the President announced the establishment of an anti-flood task force, specifically charged with preparing the capital for the rainy season, chaired by his Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Mr. Stan Jose Dogwe. The public was assured that lessons had been learned and that the year would be different. Yesterday's flooding is the clearest evidence that this task force produced no meaningful intervention on the ground. If serious drainage works, the silting or flood mitigation infrastructure had been undertaken, the impact of the rains, however heavy, would have been measurably reduced. Instead, entire neighborhoods went underwater, exposing the gap between government rhetoric and government delivery. Now we see a pattern, not an accident. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this was not the first flooding incident of the year. Weeks earlier, significant parts of Accra were already inundated at a time when the president was out of the country on an official visit that took him through the United Kingdom and Belarus. On his return, rather than point to work already completed by the task force, the president called for a fresh presentation and mapping of affected areas. The government that had genuinely prepared for the rains would not need to commission a new assessment after the damage had already been done. The need for an after-the-fact presentation is itself an admission that no adequate plan existed beforehand. Sanitation policy without a plan. We note that this government has announced a sanitation policy without a plan. Compounding the crisis is the government's decision not to renew waste management contracts with some contractors, following concerns raised about the term of these contracts. The minority does not dispute that public purse must be protected from poorly structured agreements. However, terminating or declining to renew a major waste collection arrangement without first putting in place credible alternatives has consequences. In the resulting vacuum, informal and unregulated waste collectors, commonly referred to as aboboya operators, have proliferated. There is documented video evidence of such operators dumping refuse directly into gutters and drains. Blocked drainage systems are a direct and significant contributor to urban flooding. A government cannot dismantle a sanitation system without securing its replacement, then act surprised when the resulting refuse chokes the city's drains. Rainfall is not an excuse for the absence of a plan. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the president stated yesterday that approximately 140 millimeters of rain fell on Accra, compared to a higher single-day figure of about 56 millimeters recorded last year, and argued that this is, quote, beyond our control, end quote, while pointing instead to human behavior, including structured built in waterways. The minority does not dispute that rainfall intensity is a climate reality outside government's control. But that is precisely why preparedness matters most in years of extreme rainfall, not least in them. A competent administration plans for the worst case scenario, not the average one. Ghana's meteorological agencies issue seasonal forecasts every year, and a task force was specifically constituted months ago to prepare the capital for exactly this kind of event. If, by the government's own admission, human encroachment on waterways is a known and long-standing contributor to flooding, then a task force that had been doing a job would have addressed that risk well before the rains arrived, not have it cited today as an explanation after the damage is done. The president cannot simultaneously claim that human behavior drove this disaster and that this government bears no responsibility for failing to act on a risk it knew about and was specifically tasked to manage. Now we need accountability. Government must account to the people and not give excuses. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we the minority submit that government cannot simultaneously claim to have prepared for the floods and then be caught needing fresh maps and fresh presentations once disaster strikes. It cannot dismantle an existing waste management arrangement without a replacement and then point to clogged drains as a natural disaster rather than a policy failure. The people of Accra deserve a government that plans ahead, not one that manages crisis after they have already destroyed homes and livelihood. A call for parliamentary inquiry. We contend that given the scale of this failure, statement of regret and after-the-fact relief packages are not sufficient. The minority is calling on this House to establish a parliamentary committee specifically mandated to investigate the conduct of the Flood Preparedness Task Force and the relevant government ministries and agencies in the lead up to this disaster. That inquiry must establish what work, if any, the task force undertook since its establishment, what funds were allocated to it, and how they were spent, what specific mitigation measures were planned and implemented, and why none of this prevented or meaningfully reduced the impact of foreseeable seasonal flooding. Those found responsible for negligence or dereliction of duty must be held accountable. Pending the outcome of this inquiry, the minority demands that all members of the task force step aside from their roles. This is not a presumption of guilt. It is a basic standard accountability that any institution facing serious questions over its conduct should observe, so that the investigation can proceed without interference, and so that those under scrutiny are not left to oversee the very response to a crisis their own inaction may have worsened. This House owes the people of Accra nothing less than a full and honest accounting of what went wrong and who was responsible. Now, a warning from history the NDC has refused to heed. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, Ghanaians do not need to be reminded twice of what happens when flooding in this city is met with government complacency. On the 9th of June 3rd, 2015, under an NDC administration with President John Dramani Mahama as its head, flood waters at Kwame Nkrumah Circle mixed with leaking fuel at a gold filling station and ignited, killing an estimated 150 people in one of the deadliest peacetime disasters in Ghana's history. A subsequent investigation found that the flooding itself was a remote cause and recommended urgent dredging and the silting of the Odo River and its tributaries to prevent a reoccurrence. Successive governments share responsibility for the slow pace of implementing those recommendations. But it is this NDC administration, having returned to office, promising a fresh start and having specifically constituted a task force this year to prepare the capital for the rain, that bears responsibility for the renewed flooding in the very same Odo corridor at Dabraka, Odona, and the Kwame Nkrumah Circle enclave this week. This time, the disaster was again accompanied by fire. A blaze broke out at Odona Rubber Market near Kwame Nkrumah Circle, just meters from the site of the 2015 tragedy, as floodwaters submerged the surrounding areas. Fire crews managed to contain the blaze without loss of lives, and for that, the minority commenced Ghana National Fire Service. But the fact that Accra came this close in the same neighborhood to a repeat of June 3rd is not a coincidence. It is a direct consequence of a government, once again led by President Mahama and the NDC, that has failed for over a decade to act decisively on the lessons of its own worst disaster. The minority will not allow this government and its new team of advisors and task force officials to preside over a replay of the scenes of June 3rd, 2015. Ghana paid too high a price that night to watch history repeat itself through nothing more than official negligence. Now, a public health emergency in the making. Flooding of this scale carries a public health dimension that cannot be left unaddressed. And our respected colleague, Nana Ayu Efriye, raised this on the House floor. Stagnant flood water mixed with uncollected refuse and overflowing sanitation facilities create conditions for the rapid spread of communicable diseases, including cholera, typhoid, and other waterborne and vector-borne illnesses. The minority is therefore pressing for an urgent and substantive briefing to this House by the Minister for Health, setting out precisely what steps are being taken to monitor affected communities for early signs of disease outbreak. What emergency
in Parliament Edom Kuma ewo emrashebedwem efa eye flooding no I think in their statements no a lot of the blame no call ama aban no isan say wanye prepared enough ama sa or how we nyina yentimi nto ase making reference to 2015 June 3rd abra insuyiri ene eja claiming lives of about 150 plus people Ghana has say, and it seems the same thing so see on during their administration 2026 so I think more blame bebre na de ekoma abino ne preparations awanye ni and nti enama sa flooding so aba, and I think they are not acknowledging the individuals role ewo sa flooding mu but omo de ne mostly government no so eno ene omo so omo stand ewo eye sa flooding issue yi eho. I don't know. I think in this situation both sides to score, so then we can place the blame on both sides. In my opinion, no, me the blame na ama both sides. Abaye woho, ena time mufonso ewoho. Debiana yesu se abaye no enye. Let me even take a sanitation for example. We be so be said into na odi bibi aso for and we be aso because say that's been be near around. Ye hu that's been be adin so e run be kwa kogum. But abano the that's been we see or na kabrane atam that's been na kwa kusi ni fie. So you see both sides. Abano won the rule but kabrane so anya ni rule ye a ma abane de no ensi enwie peye. See, that is that from the minority in parliament led by a minority leader Afenyo Markins and no na yede emunsem no ebrɛ na say okɔ discover newspaper hɔ na amanfo bi nso enso etu omo amoso nso omo bags omo hu ba bi omo fa omo say we've lost everything. Flood victims count heavy losses enye bibia just say bibia asay during the flood season. See, the last time we showed video be of Nkofo omu goose nsuo no afa omu niema omu ton pa na obi so no obi sere nsuo no fa niema no kwa na kodu the other side Nkofo so jinja ha omu yi niema no free nsuo no na chese ade bi a hagin na article obi so ewo discover newspaper or say what June took from Ghana. Flood kills over 15, displaces 38,803. Over 15 nimpo no eya crown kwao. Yemfa other regions nimpo enka ho. Nti eno no ye article bi so a ewo discover. Just say what June took from Ghana. Ne abusumi June eji free Ghana nsem. Nti eno ne article ewo ho besimi enye bi akan ewo the Discover newspaper. All right. If I enter.
Okay, and for the daily gist and so no kululu in 300 million relief fund. Minority tells government a year. The minority in parliament omode abetu just say a year sika 3 million abano ede to ho say omode ebeboa omo affected by the flood no omo mbomode say sika no ebi nkofa obi kotokuom. Na bibi biara omo de be bia nso na e wo se omo bebu hu akonta edema Ghana for enyina. That toll hits 30 in Accra Central Region floods. Baumia asks Mahama to consider state of emergency over Accra floods. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia or the Atu Mampenyin John Mahama enim say ombomodian senia flood nenya manema na ekoso senia people are losing their things say anu national disaster inti odiato mampeni enim say ombomodiana on consider say obe call on state of emergency na movement in manema bia etimi ahote na omo a ewo say omo hwe say enema atoto peye no omo timi edi omu ejuma. Ex-finance minister backs Afoko for NPP chairman. Emi say yedi kan aka ehun asem deda. AFIBA. Okay.
It's no enema we na the other newspapers no flood nima na oko the informer say ya say cholera alert in Accra flood trigger health as Accra flood trigger health awareness into no cholera so unity ewo Accra esan nsuyi na ekoso ewo ho no na OSP infonyin so that say OSP combat corruption built generation rejects fraud into no so ne campaign bia or they ababe sha say a chese no babe boa corruption ahodo no so etimi a free system ni mu government must justify agency bills na speaker of parliament na ochim say aban no ase ekamia say or the bills bebre eba parliament say na ase agent yanya nintem na yem pass e was unjustified or my reason it here e was sa bills ni nyina ye pass. Meteo warns of more rains. Meteorological Agency of Ghana echemu say insuno there is more to come. On the way our exams are near actual people and so more room for improvement no and Ghana insuno na eba better no so more room for rain into no obia so enhye ne so onim say bia wote no insuno ta efa ha yesere pe be fufuro na kwatena pe fufuro na kwatena because insuno eto this week Monday say na yeninda say ebe kwosro sa but the way start anpa no etimi ekwosro nti obi anhye ne so yesere na oko bi world so no so rain asemia so and a emergency rule needed for Accra floods and also flood asemia 353,000 Ghana cedis stolen from bride price. Boy gets something crying. You flood in so fan for now so more your consent what I say. Okoria esika 353,000 Ghana cedis say e can be bride price of and our brand and Korea. Tiano so yen some Supreme newspaper flood no so cost waha EPA CEO Storm Samra Boy over recent galamsey induced flooding into no Environmental Protective Authority or CEO ankasa kwa kopio mo Samra Boy and flooding na cost na no galamsey na nam so masa flooding no baya no kwa kopio mu wo ho Polafoko enso ne de wo ha say extortion scandal rocks Wasa Amenfi East. 8 fake national security operatives. NDC chairman arrested. NDC chairman Wasa Amenfi East hono yachino. Esan se yachemu se sikabi anense se ojino waje ama akwakoye nsem bebre ewo ho. Na the Ghanaian Times enso did the same flooding issue now by President in 300 Ghana cities now say emfama flood for no and also so at the Hase Talisao pays courtesy call on President Mahama reaffirms commitment to Ghana's digital growth. Inse also any ensembia Talisao or the Abba Talisao Ekache eye omampanyin John Dramani Mahama say Talisao mo network no enyo mo yenden yes sir mo nya bibi mfa homaye yo Ministry of Food and Agriculture launches 42nd National Farmers Day into a so Farmers Day na eba bekoso no Ministry of Food and Agriculture a launch Farmers Day no into no so na assembly wa ha 12 dead, nearly 500 rescued in Accra flood. Accra floods. Ayasemo. Na. Ngomo flood you know. Omoya 12. Na. Nipa yi omo efri flood nso yi rescue omo nyina nso no omo ye be 500 ene echi. Yo. Court decides wound to miss fate July 20 to July 20. July that is 20th no and a court e be kire untumi asem no be e de be akwa kosi declare state of emergency daily searchlight baumia and e kan share omampen John Dramani Mahama ene naban flood okay I can want some afenyo marking ene ne minorities in some no muka so I can want some adada. British Council celebrates Ghana's top Cambridge learners as 2026 Partner School Awards. Inti award scheme bin so ekoso Cambridge no so British Council no abogana abaso say yetimi a sustain position top position sa ensem no award scheme no emu na main chemu na menko Women and Leadership newspaper na efeyemfa eno no en storage media no so ne aka nyina eka flood 300 million minority majority ni nyina ntino mamfa newspaper Women and Leadership memfa ntwato na yento asonko yanim media lesson for the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. Gloria Jifa Ashinyo call on Ghanaians to join National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving today. Intino enna National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. For sure enno obi fasting and obi amfa ne yefunu nto ho ene nkwa o fast na unhu enti no ye bompaye aso afa nyankopon na yesanso adanase at least ye won kwan kwa de o say de asada ema no ye condolences to ebusuan na omo adehye efrimu no na mom aya ya ate asefo nso no nyankopon se bibie mu no yemfa asada ma no oho nti ye beda nyankopon ase na ye wie so yesanso esu afre ne say omra ye situation no ye de nyankopon ehye ase a na efe ye de action atayechi sanity nti ye mompa ye nja ne ho sa akwampa chew yemfa action so entwa so EPA to dredge pra bonsu and Tano rivers to combat flooding and pollution. Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nana Ama Kluche, and say EPA ejuma ekono omo ba bedreje eye pra na owo abetim omba beti prince unim no mate bonsu river no masanso ate Tano river no emu sane beya flooding ahodo a ekoso due to pollution ne ade ne nyina no illegal activities ne ekoso ne ade ne nyina no ombetimi etu ase Nana Kosia Sechiwa Insia ICE NPP Women's Organizer role with empowerment agenda inti mame Nana Kosia Sechiwa Insia or the neni esisu say yebeto no so abana ye ni say omrame ye NPP Women's Organizer esanse ochem say or the empowerment and or the eba trouble MP leads emergency response as flood claims one life, leave another missing. Honorable Gloria also a member of parliament Emma Trouble constituency and now ono ene di enimu se obaya santoa se flood ya ekoso obeboama omanfo no so rescue response bia anso no ombenya ewo constituency no ho na emom no fofi anto ata nipa baako na wefrim ewo Trouble constituency no emu na Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Enterprises Agency Margaret and see now also as digital economy accelerates, GEA pushes MSMEs to innovate into medium and small scale businesses, enterprises. No, so Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Enterprises we say Iriasan economy nema bebre na ekoso nti emra so se mo be innovation mo de enema afofro technology ano monfa enye adwuma se ne be ya ebeboa mo businesses ene ade nyina eye women and leadership na Delphina asamba ko a menam Facebook ya mete ene se nkrofo bi ka se omampanyin John Dramani Mahama bra flood na esi ye na oye na adwun se okọ aprobo no wakọ akohwe no ote helicopter mu osoro and I share a form through the window and I share the air course walk. Na obi can say I didn't see presidents no NC form. Na one man measure na oti wiem na share the air course walk. Nkofo nti access or yes sir. I don't even understand.
National disaster. Want to mean just one area and ko share a honum.
Thank you.
So o man or should be biara air course. And ye pese obe ne nam nsuo ni mansa na ehu se obo adwuma na
so for men nam nsuo ni I don't even and na ye den inti president your president my president ukọ nkofo man so they all respect him as the supreme governor onsi from na bia wa ba baby to say odona ana kole ana Accra areas ni bi na she Wellington boots now or share life jacket or whatever no in them how many areas no betimi ahwe doing that mommy anya realistic Accra I don't know the fact say oti play mu na ocean na wonti ase ana say den
Mahama enye ne din say obehye ntade e de aben
why be that
insuwe mu but a national disaster
okojina he okosha say
I was say oviem na wetimi assess the issue very well and no they are taking notes of the flooded areas na bibi biara was say from there no omoye no ombeye na sa na so oba say okonenam odona so odona
I don't even know
odona de nkwa na obehu
obey dey wo the other areas no besides insuo no eyire o enye insuo bi a you beat me akwa 1919 ensuo na eyi afa nkofo no Uncle Titi and Sonim and Sonum Fanonka and answer them. What are you people looking for?
And then in that aside, the MPs for the various areas, they are on grounds. They are with the people. Omuni microphone and a word. Zenato. Videos.
I don't know. Trouble a mamia in the news, a woman and leadership. And also so and grounds. In fact, a lot of MPs, DC is assembly members on one grounds or more grounds work. So what are you looking for?
It is so whilst these people are taking note of their areas, the president has to be in the air to take note of the whole country. And when they need Jumaketwa in Tigana for Yana, kakra my consider.
Yeah, Mususun Kasawati. Mususun Kasa. And you be Biana na yeding. It's like president took now say or call a US a man for plane or mefaka like how.
And I'm who A plus. And say we did you me who? Where did you be at them?
I saw it. Oh, it's true. Hey, I cannot cry, but I feel like he could have avoided the insults.
Truth be said, as these people are, as we are all calling upon the government and then the MPs to do something about the rain. Say MP no eba wo area no beka say okay dan we esi insuomu yembubu na mana mo besa etwa mo ho edidi MP atem em say Kumasi babies the demolition exercise na air course. Look at the way the people were all over the place. You get it? But then at the end of the day, we are the same people who would plead for help, assistance, support from these people, and then when they take action, then
you are threatening them. No, we will not vote for you. No, we will not vote for you. And so when you were voting for the president, you wanted him to come and sit down. No one you no one show say your name any problem bro man and answer it. Mommy answer sound and no pay as about me kind. Me say your mindset once you start your dream and that mommy answer sound. It's serious oh. You don't even know the kind of people we are working with right now. You say one thing, the person decides to do it, and there's a problem.
But your best A plus. So see, a very important public figure. Your best say in addressing situations, only unkofone kasa. Your best say unjusu foul language. Yes, it speaks a lot.
It speaks a lot. Actually.
People are looking up to you. You get it. Let me say, or what you need say, or your entertainment prefect to say, which you say, na papa na kano.
Oh my God.
He couldn't. Just say afro. At that point, he had to bring it all out.
On said, this is the internet you are talking about.
Yeah.
If you had just said it's simple and but you wrote it. You came to write it on
the
social
internet
media.
never forgets.
We will not.
A lot of people
screenshots chakam at the whole than the archives or channel.
And even for the fact that people may misinterpret this, moving forward, obasa kohonum say oko pay my friend is
position. Say and so aba.
Yes.
Now we know. I think as a member of parliament, you could have just said your mind without the insults. You could have said your mind without the insult.
Oh, you still pigeon so. Which means say asem na
okay, a segment NC has say na efe yentoa so na Delphina. For some time now, we didn't behind the scenes about this incidents of teacher-student relationships, very inappropriate ones. Na koso and minumuni na beya adwin se na entweye in fact entweye nya de bia wo se yesoso ewo ye communities and as say ye society no emu kra na mene de ofina na ye disankomo no ene no ye the expect eba or no ba be ma ye nchiremu yiye intino bomodi am video no enda Coastal TV eye digital channel 514 osanso be hu ye wo Facebook ene YouTube intino yenji aboafo nkratso ntwa ye hombra ye ba ye de nkomo no ebe hihye so hotspot ye ba sisia.
National Petroleum Authority say, Mawa Bambo hu hiya ukane. Ain't no, stay back and stay safe. National Petroleum Authority ebo obi bia kokose se fuel tank enya akwanhia na edane a menko ho nkwaye wadwen se okosesa petrol ana fango no na afin so menye wadwen se wo ben fuel tank enya akwanhia ne ho akwa kodwetwa videos ana pictures na petrol ana fango wo hwen so uhua ko wo mu a enye sunsun aso bone ewo apomodensem so fango so eho ahometinti no enfom so akitu ebi ebetumi ameja tom ama na gise ewom eba ne saa nipa dodo timi femu hyehye ehwe mo nkwa emeja pade dodo na nso esei eno nti memfa wo nkwa nto chacha enye saa obenu ho nkwa na nyina se wo hu se fuel tank bi enya akwanhia na adane ama fango no ebugu mpa hwa na wa aman ho da. Stay back and stay safe. Emomo no aya fredum jejumayefo ana posifo no momehwe nso ano utumi nso efre National Petroleum Authority ewo 0302 550 380 kaise wonkwa wo hoi ehu hia bebre esensa afango no kokoboi National Petroleum Authority ene de bro.
We sell gift shop, a place you can rely on. You call on us and we will deliver. Thank you.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we we know.